Oh. Hi, hey everybody. Welcome to my channel. If you're expecting some kind of content, click off. I'm just playing. Today we're taking it easy. Yesterday, all I did was I slept, I got up, I got ready. I sat in a car for a few hours. I sat in another building for a few hours. I stood up for a little bit. I sat back down in the car for some more hours. I was just tired. I lost all of yesterday pretty much. Well, not necessarily. I was able to send some emails back and forth, so I was productive that way. But it seems like today might be a little bit of a wash as well, because it's already almost 2 o'clock p.m. my time, and I'm so tired. Like last night was not a great sleep night, even though I was so tired. It wasn't bad, and I kept having these really short but intense dreams as well. Um, and not bad intense, but I don't fully remember them either. Just like a lot of energy. And then some stuff went down. Someone shows up like 7 o'clock in the morning, ring the doorbell like crazy. And I'm just like, well, there goes my plan to sleep. Um, and a few weeks ago, I had a dream. Oh, I'll use this deck. I'm transferring some of the ebooks from my phone to my iPad again because I lost them when I wiped it. I don't even remember why I did that. Oh yeah, I remember now. Because I thought I had it backed up. That's why I did it. Um, but anyway, a few weeks ago, I had a dream about my little brother and a few other individuals, and in that dream, it was basically me not being able to do anything to protect the people that I care about. And then that was a while ago, last Friday, I think. So like a week ago, last Thursday. Um, Woke up feeling like super powerless to help the people that I care about. And that's not a feeling that I like feeling. But I was able to get over it. Um, how do I send things? I know I've done it before. Excuse me, because that's how I initially got them over there. Oh, let's go from the library. Maybe that'll help. And so then today, I am glad to know that I feel like I don't have to necessarily worry as much. Here we go. Thank you. As I was. And boom. Let's see. Ooh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Cute. Love when things work. And so, yeah, it's like I don't have to necessarily worry about that one as much. He has more sense than I thought he did. um, and it's not like that. Growing up, I've only seen one side of my brother, and it's the side of him that's like super rebellious. And so I've never gotten to see how s- I feel like I've never really gotten to see how independent he actually is, how much of a free thinker he is. Because from my perspective and from my opinion, it seemed like he was always going after something that was outside of himself or like going after a certain image or whatever. But turns out like he actually is his own person. Um, and not that it's surprising at all, but it was really, I don't know, it was just interesting to have or to see that side. Like as an older brother, I do worry about my younger brothers. And so it's just interesting, I guess, to know that I don't necessarily have to worry as much as I thought I did. But there's some other foolishness. I'm just like, I can feel myself coming to the end of the Queen of Cups. That was my card for September. Maybe I'm a King of Cups coming into the King of Cups energy now. And I feel like I am coming a little bit more into the King of Cups energy now, where it's just like, you know what? It's their life and they get to choose and decide what they want to do with it. And if somebody wants to throw their life away or waste it away or pursue things that just are empty and keep them just like wandering like zombies, that's their choice. And they can do that. Just like I get to do whatever I want with my life. But I also went to bed sort of tried to go back to sleep. I stayed up for a minute because I didn't want to go to sleep in those energies. Um, but just thinking about stuff in general and ties of family and what we expect from family and about love. Because it's like, let's say, for example, like you go out and you do something dumb. And then because you went and did something dumb, there's consequences and repercussions to your actions. Now, I feel like there's a part of us sometimes that will run to our family or to a friend to try to like bail us out of a certain situation or to do whatever. But it's like part of me, from my perspective, because I'm not throwing my life away and it's not that extreme. Um, I don't feel any responsibility for someone else's actions. And I feel like if it's family or if it's a close friend, then that'll be somebody like, oh, well, you don't love me and you don't da da da, whatever. And I'm like, well, if you loved me, you wouldn't be out here making like stupid decisions that you're now running to me to try to help you clean up because I wasn't out there helping you make these stupid decisions. I didn't get any of whatever initial satisfaction you got out of making this decision. And now I got to clean up the mess. And part of me like doesn't think that's fair. And that's like purely hypothetical. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I'm just ready to like leave. And so that's the motivation to get me to do everything that I need to do or to finish doing all the things that I need to do. And it's not, it's just like, I don't know. It just feels like in some ways, like I'm not grown. Like I'm old and like I'm not fully self sufficient. I will say, like I'm staying at home with my parents right now. I was for a minute while I was on campus, but I'm not right now. But it's just like, I don't know. It just feels like it's time to grow up a little bit. And I'm talking to my little brother after he vented and did all this stuff. And he's younger than me, my little brother. But I'm just like you have the rest of your life. Like you have a whole life. Like you're so young. And he's like a few years younger than me. It's not like he's a teenager. But I'm just like, and maybe that's the perspective that I have now. Like if you would have talked to me like 2 years ago, my perspective would probably be different. Not extremely. I feel like my stance would be similar, but my perspective would be different. And because it's like now I'm looking forward to and I'm preparing for the rest of my life. And it's so long or so short, I don't know. But it's just so full of, it's just so like empty and so blank. And it's just like, I want to fill it with things that I want. I don't want a temporary situation or I don't want to be like an one immature decision away from being severely impacted in any number of ways. Like children are a blessing for a lot of people. For some people, they're not. Right now, with what I want in life, I'm not ready for a child. And fortunately, I don't have any. for me. And so I get to go out and I get to fill up my pages with whatever I want to fill it up with. And like there are other things like I've been working so hard to like free myself of old thought patterns, behavioral patterns and stuff like that. I'm just like, and he's like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" I'm like, "I don't know, but like you have your whole life in front of you." And I really feel like he's in this position to decide for himself what it is that he wants. And by that, I mean like to really take charge of his own life. Like I said, like he's his own person. From my perspective, being the older brother, he did a lot of things that I wouldn't want him to do. And we're extremely different people. We're really similar in some ways, in all of the annoying ways. He's a Taurus. I'm a Taurus moon and rising. I think one of my roommates was a Taurus. It seems like when it comes to me living with Tauruses, it doesn't work really. It does. Anyway, I feel like we can both be really bullheaded. And when we were younger, we were never on the same page. We were always at odds. And so we had a very strained relationship. But after I went away to college, and I didn't have to live with them anymore, it improved. And now it's like, I don't know, he's like not someone that I have to control. And I've never been able to control him. And I'm not interested in controlling people. But it's just like, I guess I never really quite saw the value in all of the things that he did. And it's interesting because, like, so some of the the typical tourist things, like liking nice clothes, nice things, things that are more like surface level y, he's like really into. But I'm not like at all. And I saw my dad yesterday, and my mom was there. And on the way back, she was like, "I don't know how we made you, because like he's extremely vain, and I can also be pretty vain, and you just don't care about your appearance at all. I don't." She was like, "I don't get it. I don't know how you happen." I was like, "Well, maybe like it just canceled out in both of y'all, and in me, I don't even care." But I always sort of saw him as like chasing something that I didn't think he was. And it's not that it wasn't him, it's just that it wasn't me. I don't know, it was weird. And like there's a considerable enough age difference between, like there's 5 years in between us. So the only times we went to the same school is when I was in the 5th grade and he was in kindergarten. And like we've never, like that was our only experience being in the same school. Now, the middle brother, there's only 2 years in between us. So we had like when I was in the 8th grade, he was in the 6th grade. So we had a year of middle school together, a few years of elementary, and then a few years of high school. And so, like, I feel like if ever I was really needed, like, I was right there. I was in the school building somewhere. And it wasn't too often, but like with him, and maybe that's a part of it because like we're not really in the same space. And so if anything were to ever happen, like I wouldn't know about it until like it was over. And like the same to be true with my other brother. And so I guess there were just things that I don't know. But eventually I just let him be his own person. And when I just let him be his own person and he let me be my own person, tensions just like eased. I don't know. Cause like I said, like I feel like a part of me was trying to control him, but I'm not controlling. Not necessarily. There were other things going on too. But I'm just like, I don't know. He marches to the beat of his own drum, quite literally. And I kind of do as well. And our beats never really lined up. But now they do because it's not one person trying to outplay another person. It's not one sound trying to override another sound. And we found a harmony in it. And I don't know. Because I feel like maybe sometimes he actually listens to me. But again, my approach is completely different now. Because I'm not like, you have to listen to me. I'm just like, dude, like, this is what I would do. And this is why I would do it. This is my perspective. This is my opinion. I don't know. But it is just nice to know that, like, he is, like, there is, like, he's doing what he wants to do. And he's not really being influenced by anybody or anyone. And so I'm like, okay. And he has sense. It was nice. It's nice to know that he has sense. Because I've always seen him as like impulsive and reckless and like any typical young person. Um, and then it's also interesting because if I look at him and if I look at some other people, he might actually be more mature than they are. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot about him that I guess I never saw because we were too busy being at odds with each other. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. Very interesting. But also, like I said, it's 202. Um, also, like I said, it's just like people are going to make the choices that they make. And I'm not necessarily going to feel roped into someone else's mess just because we have a relationship. It's like you make this choice without me, you can clean it up without me. I'm no one's like garbage man or whatever. I don't get paid for that. And like there's a difference between you getting yourself into a situation unknowingly and things happening and you like purposefully going out and doing things and then things don't work out. Like why, like if you go out and you drink all of your money away, I don't feel responsible for helping you do whatever. Because it's like especially like if we're both working, like it's different if something happened and somebody comes up short, then it's like yeah, like I don't mind helping out. But it's like if you're going out and doing whatever you want with your money and then you come to me asking me for my money after you've used all of yours to do what you want and now you want to use mine to do what you need, like I don't have that type of relationship with anybody. And I say all the time, like I don't have any children. And it's like, I don't know, because I had another friend like that. And he was like, come on, Pat. I'm like, you literally, like, you go out and you drink all of your money away. And now you're hungry. I was like, you should have thought about being hungry. Like, because you knew you would be hungry. And then he'd be like, one time for a real one. One time for a real one. He was a Scorpio. I'm just like, and I understand it to a certain degree. But to another degree, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not fair to me for you to kind of sort of do what you want with your resources and then expect for me to bail you out every single time. I don't know. I don't know what decision is coming up right now, but I feel like here within the past few days, emotionally, I've just been kind of sort of like not absent, but I've just been like, that's your choice. That's his choice. That's her choice. Right. And yeah. But yesterday was so nice. Like there's a cousin, I literally the most I've ever talked to her. I talked to her more yesterday than I have our entire lives combined. Probably on both sides. So you can multiply that interaction by two. And I still talked to her more yesterday than I ever have. And it was just so nice. And she is so like, she's always been model cousin. So there's model cousin, and then there's not model cousin, and model cousin and not model cousin are siblings. So, you know, it's interesting because I think that's another thing that kind of strained my relationship with my youngest brother specifically. Because we were very different. And I was the type of person that just, like, I don't know. I did fairly well academically, and in other areas, like, people kind of sort of put me on a pedestal, right? And we were just different. And I think for a long time, like, my brothers wouldn't listen to me because, first of all, I'm only their brother, I'm not anyone's father. But, like, they saw me as like a know it all. Right? Are like, oh, just because you get straight A's or just because your grades are really good, like, you think you know everything and blah, 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 blah. And, like, I don't know, part of me is just like wanting them to be all right and to be the best that they can be. But when I was younger, it's like I never really took into account like who they are and what they want. Right? It's always just been like, oh, well, if you want to maximize your success or whatever, do this and do this and do that and make these types of choices and don't make those types of choices. But we all have our own path. All three of us have completely unique paths for the most part. There are some similarities there, but they're pretty different at the same time. And we're all like different characters. Again, with some similarities here and there, but we're all pretty different. And I don't know. That's just what I felt today. So I'm not gonna use these the way that I traditionally use them, but I am feeling drawn to use them. Excuse me, because I just transferred the book over. I was like, oh, I haven't used this deck in a minute. Even though I use this deck all the time on the Legacy channel. I haven't used it outside of that purpose for a minute. And yeah, I just feel like it's time to just like release a lot of stuff and to just focus on me. And that's what I was already doing. But yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. Because like I said, for the past like few days especially, I feel like I've been a little extra cold. Just like emotionally, just like, oh, that's their choice, that's his choice. That's her choice, and whatever repercussions come, whatever blowback there is, that's what it is. Whatever we need to rise to, that's what we need to rise to. Whatever we run from, that's what we're running from. And so if something happens where we're not prepared for something that we could have been prepared for, then hey, now we have to face it. And I don't really have any necessarily like heavy emotional whatever to it, because it just is what it is. And I was so like upset and like all this other stuff. As I was coming back into my Queen of Cups, and I was like, I can't help anybody. But now it's like it's not my job to, you know. I have to respect everyone's autonomy, and I have to respect all the choices that we decide to make for ourselves. 'Cause it's not fair if I don't whatever. And if there are subsequently consequences, then hey, there are some consequences, because with every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, and sometimes we don't get an immediate reaction, so we assume that there isn't a reaction, and then we keep acting a fool, and then we get inundated by all of the reaction, and it's like, oof, you're drowning over there. Probably shouldn't have went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into that pool, because eventually your little arms and your little legs were going to get tired, and eventually the weight would start to add up. But we have to honor that in other people. We don't have to, but I will. Because like I said, I'm ready to really start building my life, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. And so I'm about to hit this stuff hardcore. Excuse me. What's love got to do? Got to do with it. I don't know. Well, my card for next month is like death. It's the back of death, and it's in reverse, in the vice verses. So in the vice versa, from what I remember, the back of death, the front of death, we saw in whatever that one video was that I referenced the other day. And there's the horse with the flaming eyes, and then there are the two people, and the horse is looking at the one person on the left side of the card, and the person on the right side of the card is just sitting there. On the back side of the card, we see that both people have brought an offering to death. Actually, I'll pull some of these, and then I'll just talk about it. We see that they're both offering something to death, and one of them is offering something more monetary. The other one is offering something more spiritual. And I assumed that the more spiritual one would be the worthy offering, and the more monetary one would be the less worthy offering. But that wasn't the case, because it's like they're both necessary. They're both needed, right? Especially to sustain, especially a human life, right? We need a balance of both. One doesn't necessarily outweigh the other. And I don't know. So that's the theme for next month. Um, this Queen of Cups, I felt. The other ones, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting though, because I had a Page of Cups in July, and then a Queen of Cups in September. So from a page to a queen in 2 months. And I definitely feel that oncoming Empress energy that's going to be November. And yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Let's get into it. Let's see what's up. Bottom of the deck is the Seeker of Cups, which is the Page of Cups that I just mentioned having in July. Let's see. There we go. You see that wishbone up there? Wishbone. Wishbone. There it is. The Seeker of Cups. And we're going to use the book because reading is fundamental. We got three cards. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. Let me open up this here BOOK. Hold it. Hold it. Wait, where is it? Where is that? It was like the first thing I transferred. Why do I have the book of maps twice? Huh? Girl, it was like the first one I transferred. Or so I thought. I really have the book of maps on here twice? No. Okay. Every other thing is opening besides this one. Yeah, I really have the book. How did that happen? How did it let me transfer the book of maps twice? I'll just delete one of them. Or I'll keep them both on here. I don't know. Where'd my phone go? Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, and supposedly, like, I was just thinking about it because in the other deck, I got the Three of Pentacles this month in the SKT. And then I think I have the Archangel of Mysteries and the Shining Quarry next month or in October. But I don't think I entered any partnerships this month. I don't think so. Right? Well, if I look at it in terms of building blocks, then I've acquired a few blocks this month that will build into something as we go. So maybe I had actually. Yeah, here we go. Maybe I didn't transfer it. Whatever it is, you know that I do. Yeah. I have December by Ariana Grande just stuck in my head. Merry Christmas, here I am, boy. Gotta love you, gotta give you a look at you. Merry Christmas, here I am. Okay, this is gonna be a little interesting. Bear with me. Bear with me, please. Bookmark. I gotta put all the bookmarks in real quick. But yeah, I guess it's it. And then I'm like, like what is love really? Is it love to like throw your life away and then to see this is oh my gosh, it's already bookmarked. But when I pulled up my bookmark, it wasn't here. Hello? See, on the oh, I couldn't see it because they're all okay. I do have all my bookmarks. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Cause like, is it love to like force somebody else into a situation that is not beneficial for them out of your own selfishness and lack of foresight? I don't know. Today has just got me in a mood that's like all the way off, and I already didn't have too much water to spare in the first place. It's just been evaporating. The water in me, like it came back as a flood, and it's just been evaporating. Don't ask me because I don't know what's said. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just ready to live my own life, you know? So now the words are extra big. Who is this? Oh, the hanged one. The hanged one is behind this page of cups. Let's see if I can get some. There we go. Somewhat. The Seeker of Cups brings with it creativity, dreaming, formless, raw energy. Youth, impulses, the strange and bizarre. You are being invited to explore the curious and creative. It is in our relationship with life that we draw inspiration. How are you tending to that relationship? Do you meet the world with rigid thinking or an answer for everything? The Seeker of Cups asks you to throw away preconceptions, especially about yourself and your feelings, and explore. Be open to anything new. Oh wow. Sometimes the energy associated with the Seeker of Cups can create discomfort in others simply because so much of the Seeker lives in the unseen. The Seeker is comfortable living in this formless space, but many do not enjoy this. Answers are not often found here, but questions are, which are just as helpful. If this represents a situation, it may be confusing and foggy. Surrender to it for now and wait for information to be revealed. So I feel like, at least maybe we have been in this space of not really having any answers or solutions to anything. But the questions that come up, like I said, are just as helpful because the questions we get to answer for ourselves. And then we get to navigate, and depending on how we answer these questions, right? We answer the questions either from some false perspective or point of view, or from a one that's more authentic and true to us. And if we answer truthfully, then we get to where we want to go, right? We get to the heart of the situation, to the heart of the matter. And this is the Seeker of Cups. So, it's more about the heart than anything else. And nothing in the heart is necessarily defined, right? And I know I've said before that, like, unconditional love does kind of sort of follow a logic. It does, but it doesn't, but it does, you know? But that's also kind of sort of been a message here, over here lately. It's following your heart and making decisions, right? Because I've been looking at everything as a transition of energies rather than this is the energy that we're in and this will be the energy that we're in after this energy. Because we just had North Node in Cancer for like 18 months. And so we should be fairly connected to this. There was an opportunity for us to be connected to our hearts and for us to get closer and closer and closer to our own individual spiritual truths so that by the time we come into North Node and Gemini, we can start making choices based off of those or based off of that deepened connection that we got in North Node and Cancer. But it didn't necessarily happen that way for everybody. So it's like some of us are like playing like catch. It's like you got to catch up in some ways, but you also got to continue because life doesn't stop for anybody. And next, we're heading into North Node and Taurus. North Node in Taurus could be the period of payout after the Cancer Gemini. Taurus brings the rewards, brings the comfort, right? And so let's say, because next we're going to have Aries and then Pisces and then um, Aquarius. And so that's going to be I want to say 72, 18, 10 times 3 is 30, 8 times 3 is 24. 54? Is that right? Hey Siri, what is 8 times 3?
8 times 3 is 24.
Hey Siri, what is 18 times 3? 54.
18 times 3 is 54.
Yeah. So I don't know why I wanted to say 72. But that's going to be like the 54-month period after this North Node in Taurus, potentially. I'm not an astrologer. And so North Node Aries is going to be about us really showing up and elevating and doing more and going beyond off of the foundation that we established with Taurus, which was a result from what we did in Gemini based off of the open connection that we got in Cancer when the North Node was there. But So Aries is going to be like elevating beyond that and maybe pushing us outside of our comfort zones and doing something new. North Node and Aries may actually also line up with a time of massive restructuring all over the planet, potentially, because a lot of systems are being called into question right now. And North Node and Aries would be the perfect time to begin doing things. And Aries is like prime cardinal energy. Then North Node and Pisces could be about us sort of reintegrating the dream, right? North Node and Aries could be more about potentially like rebuilding the structures that really fell when the South Node was in Capricorn, while the North Node was in Cancer. And that we started to question right before the shift into North Node and Gemini, May 5th. Anyway, we saw theory. And so Pisces is going to be like reintegrating the dream. It's like, okay, I got this, and I got that. But I also want to make sure that I'm doing something that I want to do, right? For a minute, things were so disheveled or chaotic that we really need to begin establishing more globally these things, but it's like now let's bring in the human element. Now let's make sure that we don't repeat what it is that happened that caused this all to fall apart in the first place. And then we come into North Node Aquarius, which is the fixed position of things being better for everybody. Because that's kind of sort of Aquarian energy. It's very humanitarian, right? Also very futuristic. And by futuristic, like it's not grounded and rooted in the things of the past. It's about going beyond that. Excuse me. And so I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but we should be more or less already connected to the heart because that's what North Node in Cancer was for getting us to find us more spiritually and emotionally. And now that we're in Gemini, it's about making decisions and choices from that space. Now, if you missed it, 2020 has given everybody an opportunity to catch up on being connected to yourself before we come into North Node and Taurus. But there's also still things to be gained now before that happens, right? Just like how you could have potentially had, not potentially, just like I feel like a lot of people were making choices and decisions based on higher, some people at the very least were making choices and decisions based off of um, what more suited what they wanted and where they wanted to go and who they were healing into back when the North Node was still in Cancer, before it was North Node in Gemini time, right? It's like you get to get adjusted and acquainted to it. It's like that if you go to summer school between school years, and so you get introduced to topics that you're going to learn in the next school year. It's a little bit of an early introduction, right? If you finish it early to keep you um, engaged, entertained, busy, because like I was the type of person growing that I would finish my work really early and then just start causing trouble because I got bored, or that's what people said. And when I had teachers who kept me stimulated and engaged, I didn't cause as much trouble because I was stimulated and engaged, right? I don't know. If there's anything that life has taught me, it's that, especially in these past few days, I don't know, I'm not for everybody. And everybody most definitely is not for me. And like I said, I can't, like, whatever choices and decisions we make them and then we got to pay for them. And we don't have to punish ourselves. I don't know. I'm just ready to begin. And that's why, I make those choices for me. I make those decisions for me. And I try to hold myself accountable for making the choices and decisions that get me to where I want to be. And it's not about being perfect, but it is about putting myself in a position that I actually want to be in. I don't want to be in a position that I don't like. And so I got to step up and be a little bit more of an adult, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and make those choices and do the hard work even when it's hard because it leads to a space that I want to be in ultimately at the end of the day. Anyway, let's continue. So that's at the bottom of the deck. We're starting with the Six of Wands, which is a card in this deck. It almost feels like victory is sort of being, it's like there's this race, right? And we see the triangle, which is the portal. Let's say we're coming out of the cave in this phase of the race or whatever. There's the cross, which is an obstacle. And beyond that obstacle lies the finish line, which is that final wand all the way back there. That's where the recognition awaits. There's not really any participation prizes in this one. There are, but I don't know. And it's also a matter of perspective as well, right? If something is big or small, then sometimes, like if it's larger, you're probably closer to it. And if it's smaller, it's further away. And so sometimes we just need to adjust our perspective to put things into a certain frame that make it easier to handle. Because some things sort of start at this default, like it's too hard, it's too difficult, but like I have the rest of my life ahead of me. Like if I make a mistake right now, if I do what, like I'd rather risk it. I'd rather risk it because I want the biscuit. Six of Wands. This is success, victory, and pride. Oh, pride is new. Oops. The Six of Wands is an acknowledgement of a public victory or an external success you have achieved. It means that you continue to persevere through the challenges and uncertainties, and it has paid off in a major way. I'll read that one more time because I want to. Because again, the Page of Cups is like unknown and stuff, right? But we persevere anyway. That's how winning is done. Let me stop. It means that you continued to persevere through the challenges and uncertainties, and it has paid off in a major way. The Six of Wands encourages you to be proud of what you have accomplished and do not downplay it. You deserve it. This card also invites you to be optimistic at any challenges that may lay afoot. Expect or prepare for success and cultivate that as the true outcome. In some cases, the Six of Wands can also carry a warning to be careful of your relationship with success. You are not at the end of your journey, and there is more to come. It is important to not let your achievements get to your head and inflate your ego. Now may be a good time to check in on your relationship with success. What does success mean to you, and how do you define it? Do you react to both success and challenges in a neutral way? Or do you jump on a roller coaster and allow your ego to grow and shrink in relation to what is happening? Examine yourself in a curious way. You will be better prepared for more successes and to easily traverse any challenges. If you are secure in your if you are secure in your relationship with yourself. That's interesting. And it does remind me of how I think it was in like March or April, whenever like people really started to get into the space. It's probably April, later April, maybe earlier May, when people were starting to like, after the initial like lockdown, everyone was like baking bread and like, watching all the shows that they missed on Netflix and doing all this home improvement stuff. And it's like after all of that, when the reality kind of started to sink in that like, life has been disrupted in a major way and it isn't necessarily going to go bounce right back. I feel like some of us, because of the work that we had already done, were more in a position to understand like what a dark night of the soul is, and what it means to do like this heavy work and to face it and to come out of it, right? But I remember being like, don't compare yourself to someone else, or don't get comfortable just because like other people are starting to enter this, because like there's still work for us to do as well. And we can't necessarily stack our achievement and self-worth, or stack our achievement and growth and healing against someone else's lack of achievement in that area, and think that the universe, the world is going to go easy on us. Like, if that's the mentality and the mindset that you have, you're probably going to be sorely mistaken. And maybe some people were. Maybe some people thought that they were good and then they got rocked with a capital ROCKEND, just like everybody else was getting rocked. And also, I don't know. Well, yeah. And also, it's like sometimes when like you're okay or when you're doing good in a situation or a questionable situation, other people will try to want to pull you down into their mess. But like I was talking about, like we all make our own choices and decisions. It's like, I don't know. Are we necessarily obligated to go down into that or to be a part of that? It's like, I don't think so. I didn't continue doing all the work that I continued doing to, I don't know. Come on. I want one of the red ones now. There we go. I always get two, but I want one. I don't know. It's interesting. But I did, I tried to, at least on when I made videos, I was like, don't get complacent because there's still work for us to do. It's not over. It doesn't matter how far you were when you started this, because we're doing something new and we got to keep going. Everyone has to keep moving right now. And I also I think about who I am and where I am right now and how important it was for me to arrive at the position that I arrived in, to hold the space that I was holding. Because if I didn't, I would have reached a certain stage a lot sooner than it would have been my time for. And I keep having conversations with myself, especially here within the last few days, maybe. It's happening more within the last few days, but it's a conversation that I would have. I've just been having it more and more and more frequently. And it's fairly frequent ish lately. Of like, what is worth my destiny, if you want to call it destiny, and what isn't, right? Like, would I want hurt feelings or pride or appearances to keep me from pursuing what I believe is for me? And would I allow those things to hold me back from something that is truly beautiful and something that is worth investing in? Like, would I allow those things to stop me from doing that? Or would I be inflexible? And it's an interesting question, right? Because I was talking to my mom a while ago, and I was like, they say that some people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But how do we know, like, if there's an on season and then an off season and then another on season? How do we know if it's like not supposed to be multiple seasons or if it truly was one season? What if someone comes into our life for a multitude of reasons and the reasons sort of grow and evolve and change over the course of that relationship? Does the end of one season and the accompanying reasons outplay or matter more than the following reasons or another season? And it's not to be in and out and in and out and in and out with anyone, but it's just a recognition that, sometimes growth and healing happens. And we as people do have the capabilities to change. Now, not everyone necessarily will to the same degree that you will. And just because you align at one point doesn't necessarily mean that you'll align again later, but just because it fell apart at one point also doesn't mean that it's not meant to come back together stronger. And so I've just been thinking to myself, like, you know, is that something that I would potentially want to miss out on because of the past? And I don't know why it's being brought up here. Oops, I picked up the wrong card. That's the next one. I don't know why it's being brought up here in the Six of Wands. Oh, the sun is starting to shift. But it is. I've been thinking a lot lately. Because, like I said, I do have the gateway, the portal to the rest of my life that I'm walking through. And it's every minute of every second of every day, constantly moving closer and closer to the future, right? Even though the speed is the same and the future is always outside, but continuously deciding who and how I want to be, more consciously molding the space that I'm coming into. And it's going to be determined not only by my mindset, not only by my heart, but also my actions and what I'm doing, which is why I need a good Cerberus. And I feel like it sounds a lot more intense than it actually is. For me, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just like living life. And I'm like, this is what I want. So I'll just like, I don't know. I feel like it's not necessarily any more strenuous than it ever is, but also, I don't know. Let's get into the next card. Let's see. Next is, oh, another six, the Six of Swords. So we got two sixes on the table right now. There we go. Y'all see the Six of Swords? I believe there's a skull, the top of the skull. No, it's the bottom jaw. It's the bottom jaw, and then there is the rose that goes all the way up. And roses in this deck, it's a full rose. It ain't just the rosebud or whatever. It's the full rose, stemming now, which implies some growth. It's a space that we're growing into, right? The Six of Cards is also a card of travel. It's a card of movement. So for it to be a card of growth at the same time, you know, maybe we plant the seed in a rough season, but it blooms and blossoms and sprouts and germinates and produces more seeds in a calmer season. And if that growth and if that movement has happened, then I would say it's probably safe for the seed to sprout, right? Don't necessarily want a seed to sprout in the dead of winter. Six of Swords, two sixes. Y'all can't even see that. Oh, wait. There we go. You see it in there? Also, with that being the bottom jaw, I feel like the throat and communication is going to be very important. But, who am I? I'm always saying communication is important, apparently. But they do say that you have not because you ask not, or something like that, right? So consider me asking, consider me speaking, consider me showing up because I don't want silence on my part to keep me from getting what I want. I've done that long enough. I'm not doing it anymore. It's like I don't know. I'm not just like I'm not interested. I'm not interested in that. I'm just not interested. I'd rather speak up and get what I want, or at least make it known what I want. So then we can mutually decide if our interests align. Six of Swords, inevitable change, transition, and moving on. I'm just gonna hold it. If y'all can see it, you can see it. The Six of Swords indicates a major transition, and most likely one that is filled with sadness. This life change may feel forced upon you, but this road is also the one that is best for you. Remaining where you are is not an option. This change has been in development for some time, but it may take some time until you feel through it. The Six of Swords is an acknowledgement that the path you are on will lead you to a whole new world where you have more opportunity. It shows a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. You are still in the tunnel, and it ain't fun, but you can see the light. Rather than rapid transition and transformation, there is a quietness to this journey and a knowing that the challenges will be over. Often, where people struggle in this situation is trying to rush the process. Not feeling good or comfortable, one second. There we go. Not feeling good or comfortable with your life immediately triggers a desire to escape or to desperately find good. But being able to surrender to the experience allows it to shift more easily. What are things you can do in this moment that will help you feel more at peace with where you're at? How can you honor and say goodbye to the life and things you are leaving? And I've been feeling that a lot. That's why, like, excuse me, I had to, like, not extremely consciously, but this is another thing I thought about. It was like, just because I end one chapter or just because I decide to walk away from one thing does not mean that I have to run to another one and get it started, right? And that's something that I also talked about. Sometimes, if we free up space, it's important for us to leave that space empty for whatever is supposed to be there to flow there, right? And I feel like sometimes, be it out of ego or lack or whatever, we do kind of sort of, if we miss one thing, we feel this impulse to actively fill it with something else. Sometimes, if it's like a relationship that ended, it's to prove to the other person that you don't need them or that you didn't really want them anyway or that you can do better or whatever. If it's a job or opportunity, it's, probably to get some money, but also you can probably get a little bit of the same with that, especially if you're in a competitive field or if you're in a field that's interconnected, right? It's like, oh, well, let me go work for your direct competitor and do better over there. And like you'll realize the employee that you got rid of or whatever, right? And that's another thing. It was like, I don't want to look like this. I don't want to look like that. I don't want to be perceived this way. I don't want to be perceived that way. So I'm going to beat somebody else to the punch. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the reason why this fell apart. And it's like, is that really like the mentality that you want to go into a situation with? Right? Or like, I'm going to quit before you fire me. And sometimes it's like if you get called into let's say you get called into the office one day and you already thinking whatever, maybe you had a bad day that day and you get called into the office and you think that you're about to get fired and so you quit on the spot. This is an extreme example, but follow me. You quit on the spot because you don't want to get fired because you want to save face and whatever, and they had just called you in to talk about how they noticed something that you didn't think anybody noticed and they were actually going to give you a raise or a promotion, but you just quit on the spot. because you thought you were going to get fired, because you were feeling unappreciated in the position that you're in, thinking that nobody was watching, all the while someone was. And someone was noticing all of your Six of Wands effort and wanted to Six of Swords move you up. But in that moment of desperation or to save face or to do whatever, you just walk all the way away. You want to pull the trigger before somebody else pulls the trigger. And it's like, but what if the person ain't on the other side ain't even, it is what it is. This is interesting. Because didn't I talk about, yeah, I was talking about this and I said there was a cave, right? I was like, you're running a race, and for some reason there's a cave, and that's that triangle. That's the outside you see of the cave, but there's this obstacle either right before you exit the cave or right after you exit the cave. And the finish line lies beyond that obstacle. And then here was like, you're in a tunnel, you're not out of the tunnel yet per se, but you can see the light. And then let's see, what is this? What's this? Uh, well, we have another six. So that's 666 on the table. The last six is a 15, which is the devil. Oh, the final obstacle. The final obstacle. The eater of light. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And there he is. Doom, doom, doom. That honestly feels like fear and anxiety and worry. And it reminds me like God hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but of power, courage, and a sound mind or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Because sometimes it is like purely mental. Hey, he's so cute. He's real cute. I was talking to my mom on the car ride home yesterday because I talked to her a few days ago, and she was like, "All the people that you're interested in, like, have this, like, they have a look or they have a." I was like, "I don't have a type. I don't have a physical type." And so I was telling her what I like about all the dudes that I've liked. Right? There's the one who's like really patient and understanding and empathetic. There was another one. He gave good hikes. There's another one who was like adventurous and lively and just sociable. And I think I hugged him one time. I think it was decent. And then there was another one, and I thought about him, and I paused for a second, and I laughed, and then she laughed. But I was like, he's like really intelligent, and he thinks deeply, and I feel like sometimes we can both kind of sort of dive into something. Like if I'm talking to somebody and they say it's not that deep, I might brush it off, but I keep that in mind. And it's like, okay, so I'm not going deep with you. And if I can't go deep with you, then this is a shallow relationship. But not every relationship is meant to be a deep one, so that's fine, right? And I don't know. It's just interesting. I've been thinking a lot, I guess, within the past few days as well, about the people that I've been interested in the past and the reasons why, and like what aspects of that relationship um, were special or that worked for me. And here lately, I've been meeting more like younger, or dudes who are younger than me, which is interesting because if you could probably tell that maybe I prefer somebody with a little bit more maturity and with some years over me. And my Eros is in Capricorn, so like you know, and but I've been meeting younger dudes lately, and younger doesn't always mean more immature or extremely immature, and that's something that like but I'm also like I have been appreciating like. And it's not that I necessarily need anybody to do it, but I have been appreciating people who like pull out that like younger, more carefree, not so stern, not so serious all the time side of me. And it's because of folks like that that I like got to rediscover it. And I'm still like kind of crotchety and like old man sometimes, but I can have fun. I can have fun. I can have a lot of fun. And I like to have fun. I just don't like to like dismiss things that need to be addressed. Because if we dismiss things that need to be addressed, then it's like that's when like we all go to the party and people who got beef start throwing hands and then they ruin the party for everybody. And it's like leave the drama at the door. Or if you can't handle it, don't come. Like why everybody else gotta have a one night? Because of you. Don't care about nobody. That's selfish. That's selfish. You don't care about me. You don't care about my night. You don't care if I have fun. All you care about is you. And y'all could have had beef literally anywhere else. Goodness. No, the whole party, no, the whole mood then came down. The whole mood. I'm like, see, I'm done with you. Can't take you nowhere. Not that I necessarily have any personal experience with parties. I've only been to a party one time, didn't like it. But one of my Sagittarian best friends, she dragged me out one day and I went. It was during Shark Week. I remember because they had like this giant projector or whatever, and like some shark Jaws was on or something. I was like, "This is what all the hype is about. This is not. It ain't my scene." And the only time I like going to the bar is when they have a discounted food or discounted drinks or both. Like if they have discounted food and drinks, then I'm there. Or if they have free stuff. Like all of those Brothers Bar shirts that I have, they were free. Okay. Second Timothy 1:7 is the scripture that I'm looking for. For the Spirit of God. What? Oh, that's the NIV version. Where's the King James version? Where's the King James? I was raised on the King James. Here we go. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And then enter the devil to try to steal our power, sap out, eat away at our love, and bring discordance to the mind. And it's like God don't give us no spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 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 I don't know. It sounds like somebody's mantra or something. So we do get three sixes on the table because 15 does add up to a six. Six of wands, six of swords, double energy. It's like before you exit the little whatever, it's the Kraken monster that pops up and tries to sink your ship before you sail on to the rest of your life. And it's like, you know what? And sometimes it's not even real. It'd be like Scooby Doo villains or something. It'd be like, whoa, like it's animatronic. Oh my gosh, it was a projector the whole time. We literally could have walked right through it. It has no substance, it has no weight. It's all in the mind. It makes it appear bigger than what it actually is. And like that's what I said about perspective here. When you're closer to it, it looks bigger than what it actually is, but sometimes you can get a little bit of distance, get some perspective and be like, "Oh, wait." Or like if you bring the light a little bit closer, you're like, "Oh, like I thought that was a monster. It's just a sweater on the back of a chair. Like I was afraid of that sweater." And then you feel silly and you laugh, right? And then other people laugh and it's like, "Haha, it was just a chair and a sweater." It was a Christmas tree, but the lights weren't on. So it's all fought in the mind. A lot of it is fought in the mind and in the hearts of the collective, in the hearts of man, the mind and the heart. But we also have power. Power, love, and a sound mind. This is shadow, choice, and illusion. While scary at first, the devil card really carries the message of illusion. Somewhere in your life, you are believing falsehoods or are being influenced in a way that can cause real harm. The subconscious is being fed here. Whatever it is, you are buying into it. Whatever it is you are buying into is coming from a need or compulsion from your shadow. And I just talked about with the Six of Swords how sometimes because of our pride, our ego, or whatever, we try to jump the gun sometimes. And then we end up looking real stupid when we find out what it is that we walked out on. Real dumb. We look real dumb. And I've looked dumb and I've looked stupid before and I've kicked myself before, but I stopped kicking myself and I stopped realizing, or I started realizing what it is that led me to make those choices and decisions in the first place. And like, if I go back for the opportunity and it's not there, it wasn't meant for me. Some of them actually kind of sort of were meant for me, but in the grand scheme of things, it was meant for us to not take those opportunities because of what we still had yet to learn. Because now we get to come back into the situation with more appreciation, with more wisdom, with more maturity. And if you are so fortunate to be able to resume something or to pick something back up and to go at it again, it's like don't just do it. It's like don't just pick up from where you left off. Like pick up from who you are today, right? Make it better than it was before. Because that's why, like, if it didn't work in the past, there was probably a reason. And if we're coming back and if we can make it work, we can make it better. Like in ways that neither person was capable of making it the first time. Right. And that could be a job. That could be a line of work. It doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship. Right. Sometimes we experience setbacks and failures to make us wiser. And if you can approach, especially a job, if you can approach that with wisdom, like people notice stuff like that. And you increase your value. And when you increase your value, you get to demand more, right? You can't be demanding a raise and you don't even show up to work. Like, hello, a raise? You lucky you ain't fired. Anyway, back to this. The subconscious is being fed here. Whatever it is you are being buying into is coming from a need or compulsion from your shadow. An often used example of this card would be addiction. The wounds held in the subconscious need the band aid of substance. We may tell ourselves we feel better when under the influence, but anyone on the outside can see that is fiction. But this could also be a relationship. You may be. Come on, come now, come now. Oh, come on. Thank you. You may be trusting someone, but they are actually manipulating you for their own personal gain. This could also be internal. Isn't believing you are unworthy a falsehood? In all of these scenarios, deep work is required. You must confront the deepest layers of yourself and your past, then question all the things you thought to be true. This can be painful as we often begin seeing the darker nature in others and ourselves, which can make us feel cynical. Allow yourself to approach darker nature in others and yourself, which can make us feel cynical. Whoa, it really wrote that twice. I forgot about that. Allow yourself to approach this work with a sense of curiosity. Oh, no, 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 it's different. It's different. Okay, so I'll read this again. I thought it was the same, but it's different. So we're just start at the top. In all of these scenarios, deep work is required. You must confront the deepest layers of yourself and your past, then question all the things you thought to be true. This can be painful as we often begin seeing the darker nature in others and ourselves, which can make us feel cynical. Allow yourself to approach darker nature in others and yourselves, in ourselves, which can make us feel cynical. Allow yourself to approach this work with a sense of curiosity, which we had the Page of Cups, curiosity, Allow yourself to approach this work with curiosity and non judgment, but do not treat it lightly. It is absolutely necessary you do this work. And that's why a whole bunch of people, we's in this collective dark night, facing our collective shadows. And some people are really doing mental, emotional, intellectual gymnastics to not see what's in front of us. But it's like, it's in front of us for a reason. Like, let's address it, please. It's like how you wishing for a manifesting world peace, but when the situation arises to actually bring peace to something, then you run away. Like, did you think that? I don't know. Like, that ain't how things work. All right, things don't just disappear. Things don't just go away. We have to face them. So, I'm gonna get a final message. That was interesting. Was not expecting all these sixes to come out, with the devil being the last one, but the Seeker of Cups with the wishbone is behind it. This is gonna get us to where we want to be, emotionally and spiritually. It'll get us there, right? And it said, there aren't really any answers here. It's all unknown, but just keep exploring it. So, yeah. I don't know. I probably won't be coming live as much. Ooh, the six of coins. Well, there's another six, and the devil is still at the cut. The six of coins is here. So there's four sixes. The only six we didn't see was the six of cups. And with the six of coins and the devil, it's like if you feed in negativity and darkness, if you occupy those realms and spaces of anxiety and worry and depression and toxicity and addiction, like that's what you're gonna get more of. Sometimes you just gotta throw yourself into, like, head first, foot first, whatever body part first, as long as you get there, and just, I mean, I don't know, authenticity. It starts somewhere. Truth starts somewhere. Light starts somewhere. There's a source to all of it. Darkness isn't forever. Because if there's dark, there has to be light, right? One is the absence of the other, or it's like they follow each other. So if you see one, there has to be another. But we can shift the scales. The card that came out is the Ace of Wands. It's the Ace of Wands, which is the torch that you take into the night, into the darkness. That's the Hermit's Lantern. That's the Staff of the Moon card. Bottom of the deck is the Conqueror of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands energy. Probably can't see it, but that's fine. The Conqueror of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And I do want to pull an Energy Oracle card just to put a little cherry on top of that. Please. I wonder how my friend is doing. I'll send him a message. I'm so proud of him. He's come so far. He's really grown up. And because of the shutdown, you know, he ain't able to just go out and drink himself into oblivion every night. Like, I do enjoy alcohol, but like one shot, two shot, three shots, like I ain't trying to be like completely like out of it. I don't know. I just like the social aspect of it, I guess. I don't know. I like tequilas. I like me some bourbon whiskeys, some rum chata. Ooh, I love rum chata. But I don't like to be sloppy. Like I don't like to get drunk. I like to take a drink and not like. So that's a friend I couldn't drink with. He was like, "Why would I only get one or two drinks? That's dumb." I'm like, "Boy, like, man, we have to discover that we can't drink together. So we're not drink compatible because he wants to get blackout drunk every single time he goes out drinking. I'm like, what are you running from? I knew what he was running from. Was that the Angel of Love? Yeah, the Angel of Love and victory. Love can defeat all evils in the world. But humanity's heart has been so choked and strangled that we haven't really gotten the opportunity to see that or to experience that. So it's like, as your heart opens, allow for love to show you everything that it can do. to bring you victory. Oh, there we go. Oh, is this the Angel of Balance? Yeah, Angel of Balance is the card that came out with the Angel of Love at the bottom of the deck. Angel of Love, Angel of Balance. Yikes. What's at the top of the deck? Because I'm curious. The Door to Spirit. The Door to Spirit. The Door to Spirit with 2 angels. I'll take all 3 cards. Thank you. When you get through the darkness, you come out much stronger on the other side. I know it's hard, but don't let it defeat you. You are stronger than your darkness. I mean, obviously, like, you have all of that light. Hello? Come on, phone. Come on, phone. Don't do this. Don't do this, phone. Oh, I put it on my iPad. Yeah, let's see. Why didn't I just put my iPad? Let's see. The Energy Oracle cards. Can you feel it coming in the air tonight? I don't know why that just popped into my head. I don't even know that song. Oh no. So we're looking at 49.50, 48.49, and 32. I've been seeing 23 a lot lately. Now it's time for the 32. Okay, so 48. Let's see. That's 38. 48. Angel of Balance. So I love this. I love this message. I'm glad I finally started reading these. I love this. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck, honestly. Being centered and self honoring in your choices. Upright, this loving presence holds a pitcher of liquid light in front of the pyramids, reminding you that a strong destiny relies on a solid foundation of personal balance and emotional equanimity. Although things may have been out of sync in the past, this card is telling you that a greater equilibrium is now coming to your life. Remain conscious about how you are balancing your goals and your physical and emotional energy as well. Whenever you feel yourself getting off center or losing focus, call upon this beautiful angel and bring her intention into your heart center. Your intuition will lead you in the right direction, and the angel will guide you to a peaceful and centered approach. The affirmation here is: I live a balanced and centered life. As I care for myself, I don't know why I said myself that way. As I care for myself, the universe as I care for myself, the universe cares for me also. That's what I like. Self care has been huge this year. Well, what's under the angel of love? Victory! Victory is still there. We got victory, the angel of love, the angel of balance, the door to spirit. Like, all of the key components are there. It may have been off center in the past. Let's leave the past in the past. And yeah, the past happened, so we probably got to talk about it. And it's like, because those who don't learn from their pasts are doomed to repeat it, right? That's also a thing. And sometimes I feel like we get into this mindset of like, oh, this is how the world works, and that's how the world works, and these things never work out, all the while forgetting that as long as we continue to not learn and make the same choices and decisions from the same spaces and places, then of course the outcome is going to be the same. But if you've changed, then the outcome will change, especially when you act in alignment with that change. Now, if you've changed but you do the same thing, then you're probably going to get more of the same, more or less. More or less, it might happen that way. But it shouldn't happen that way, because if you change, you should start doing some things, a little bit differently, maybe. I don't know. There is also an action period, right? So, Angel of Love, guys, I love this. I'm a fan. This beautiful angel. Oh wait, this is Tinder Connections. Okay. This beautiful angel with roses in her hair and rose-colored wings. This beautiful angel comes with roses in her hair and rose-colored wings. She holds a rose quartz heart, radiating tender and loving vibrations, bringing you compassion and affection. If you're looking for new love, this angel brings a message of its upcoming approach. Or if you're longing for a deeper, more intimate connection with someone already in your life, she's here to say that far greater tenderness is available to you. Far greater tenderness is available to you now. Things may have seemed off kilter, or things were out of sync and off kilter in the past, but greater equilibrium is coming. New love is coming. Deeper connections are coming. More intimacy is coming. Your second chakra probably also needs some work, and your heart chakra. Intimacy is a very sacral type thing. So, that's why we're getting it all lined up. Either way, remember that your first intention for tenderness must be directed inward, and the compassion that you demonstrate toward yourself will influence the energetic potential of these events in a significant way. The angel of love is smiling on you and forging connections in the energetic realm. The affirmation here is: I love and value myself without limitation or condition. Tender, loving treatment comes to me in wonderful and unexpected ways. And I am ready for the wonderful and unexpected. I've been like literally preparing myself for the wonderful and unexpected. So when the wonderful and unexpected happens, I'll be there, right? I can show up. If my heart gets broken, if I get like if I'm crying or whatever, at this point in my life, like I'd rather know that I tried and it didn't work than to not try, than to hold back, than to have these reservations. And just like, I don't know, I'm done with it. I'm just ready to like be. I'm ready to be, right? Who's ready to be with me? Also, I was talking to my mom. Anyway, I don't gotta continue to talk about what I talked to my mom about. But we were talking when she was like your dad is so vain, and I also like, I like to look good. So I don't know how we had you and you just don't care. And I was like, I don't know. I just like, it's not something that I'm concerned about. I'm more focused on what I look like and feel like on the inside. Look at me. I'm like wearing this raggedy toe up shirt on live. I was like, I don't care. And she was like, yeah, but I feel like a part of you, like, I feel like you're hiding. I feel like you do that intentionally so that like people don't see you or look at you. And I'm like, oh, read me, mother. Read me. For filth. Yes. Piping hot tea served a la me at my expense. Hello. And she was like, that's why, like, when people see your pictures, like, they're surprised. And like, I feel like people are overreacting. But because so my Libran friend, one time he was over at my apartment and I have it's packed up. I thought I had it out. For graduation, for high school graduation, my auntie gave me this thing. It's like a little picture frame. It's a small one and it says grad on it. And there's one of my senior pictures in it. And he saw it and he was like, what? Like, this is you? Like, wow. Like this version and you could like get it. Like, I didn't know that you were this attractive. I'm like, I literally look the same. My hair is longer, and that's like it. Well, and it's like less maintained. But I'm like, to me, I look the same. I don't know. But to other people, also, this Libran friend is weird. He's like so extremely photogenic. Like one day, because I do like I take pictures sometimes with other people in the background, and I called his name and he looked, and I'm like, and then I look back like what is this? Hello, how are you this photogenic? And it's not that he's ugly, but it's just like he's ridiculously photogenic. And I'm like, it's like looking at two completely different people. Like, what is happening? And it's like there's no filter. It's happening literally right in front of my eyes. This is the same person, but on camera, he just looks good. I'm like, okay. Anyway, anyway. And then I was like, oh, I shouldn't have to care about my appearance. And like, I don't want somebody who wants me for my appearance. I want somebody who wants me for what's on the inside. And she was like, well, how is anybody supposed to even want to get to know the inside if they don't like what's on the outside? Like that is a part of attraction. Appearances, like they're not everything, but they do matter. And I'm just like, I ain't about that. Cause then I like it ain't something that you do one time. You gotta keep up with it. I'm like, oh, that's too much. Like, that's too much. I'd rather like if I didn't have any hair, like I think it'd be fine. But also at the same time, I'm trying to get a job and I need to look presentable and work ready. So I guess I'll start to do whatever. And like part of what she was saying is right. I did do a lot of stuff to hide and to minimize and to limit interaction with people because I don't it's like the more that I experience with people, the less that I want to talk to people. It's like the more that I know about people, the less people I want to know. Cuz it's just like I don't know. And it's not like all that way. I don't know. And also, like, I do have my own abandonment issues, like a lot of people do. Growing up, it's like every time I would get close to somebody, they would move away. And that's what initially fueled my abandonment issues initially fueled like or added to the fuel of the garbage fire that was anxiety and worry and depression. And then it just caused me to, when I was in the seventh grade, just make a decision to be as isolatory as I could be and to put myself in a position to not need anybody because everybody that I cared about left my life anyway. And because life just happens, no one's going to be there forever. And I'd rather not know anybody than feel the pain of losing someone or having someone leave. And it was like literally like I would get close to somebody for like a year and the next year they're moving. And then, I start to get to know someone else because the person that I was just best friends with moved away. And then like it would happen again. Within a year to 2 years, like that person would move away. And like there was this one girl, we had known each other since like middle school. So like seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, and then like 10th grade, we started getting closer. And then she moved by the end of the year. And I'm just like, this is like some of these people have literally been in my environment my entire life. And it ain't until I want to try to get closer that all of a sudden the universe wants to conspire in a way where their parents get a job somewhere else and they end up moving. And I'm like, ooh, ooh, I'm excited about that. I'm gonna have to get that and watch. And I'm like, you could have moved before I decided to get close to you. So yeah, I had abandonment issues for a long time. Also, when I was younger, I had a best friend who was like in the neighborhood and not a school best friend. And like one summer he was moving, but my dad, who I only saw like every other or every other or every other summer, like that year I was gonna see him and spend some time with him and that side of the family. And so like I had my dad and that whole side of the family that I rarely get to see, and this friend who was about to move away. And so I decided to go see my dad and spend time with them. And when I came back, they had moved. And that's something that like little child me was not able to really like reconcile or accept. And I remember going to church one day because it was always something that would just like sit in the back of my mind and in the shadowy corner of my heart about that choice that I made and how I never even really got to say goodbye because by the time I came back, he was gone. And so um like one day, like years later, I was still young, maybe like 10, 11, maybe 12. I wasn't in high school, maybe like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. we went to church and it just like hit me that I made that choice. And I like cried. I started crying. And my mom is like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, like you remember when I was a little kid and I decided to not say goodbye to my best friend because I wanted to go spend time with my dad, who I rarely got to see. It's like, I don't know. I'm weird like that though. But that's one of the reasons why I decided to self isolate for a long time. But now I'm just like, you know what? There have been so many amazing people that I didn't allow myself to really get to know. Like there was this cute Australian dude who was like low key trying to holler, and he was only there for a semester. So I was like, you know what? It doesn't make sense for me to form a relationship or a deep friendship with this person or an attachment to this person because he's just gonna leave anyway. Like if I know he's gonna leave, then why would I do that to myself? There was this other dude, this other cute dude, and he was actually interested in me. He hit me up. We had mutual interests. We were gonna like get together, but I was gonna be leaving at the end of the semester. And so I didn't really give it a chance. And then I told my mom about it, and she was like, "Well, you knew that Sparkles emoji dude was gonna be leaving at the end of the summer, and you continue to invest time in him. But the one person that was actually interested in expressing that interest in you, like you would have had more time with him and you didn't give him like the time of day at all." Like the issue here, it's not about the time that you would have had with someone. Because if that's the case, you would have set Sparkles Emoji Man to the side as soon as you found out that he was leaving. There's something here that goes a little bit deeper than that. And self worth, self love, going after people who are emotionally unavailable, setting yourself up for failure instead of picking the ones or choosing the ones or investing in the ones who are willing and excited to invest in you. And I'm like, all of that stuff, it's over. I'm not doing it anymore. Right? Because I've had the opportunity to work through a lot of that. And I want to show up. I'm going to start showing up for the people who show up for me. And actually, and like there was nothing wrong with him. There was a lot of things not wrong with him. And like I robbed myself of the opportunity to even really get to know him. Then come to find out he's a Pisces. And I was like, I don't know what was up with me and all these fish. And I feel like with the Geminis, it's like that's a pretty immediate crush. It's like upfront. Pisces for me is like the slow burn. That's where we start as like whatever. And then eventually I'm like, oh, like you have a lot of qualities that I really like. And then Virgos are just like platonic all the way throughout. Sagittarius, it's like, so, I think I actually do like, because if I think about it, the only thing I don't, or the only time that I sort of like fall apart with Sagittarius is whenever they try to pull me out of me. Whenever they more or less try to put me in a position or a situation to not be myself, then that's when I start to have issues, right? Or like if you get like a more cynical Sagittarius who has like a more cynical worldview and like everything is bad and like they try to suck all the positivity out of me or like force me to think in the way that they think or whatever, then that's when like we just ain't gonna vibe. But actually, I do know a lot of cool Sagittariuses, and I know a lot of cool Libras too. So I know sometimes I come on here and I talk smack and I talk a lot of garbage about a few signs in particular, but I do still like them. I like everybody. I take that back. I don't have any beef with any signs in particular, even though there are some signs that tend to be a little or a lot less willing to explore those realms of fantasy and illusion with me mentally. It's like, come on, just like entertain me a little bit. Just relax into the space a little bit and continue to explore. And maybe it's disappointment more than anything Because I feel like when it comes to Sagittarian energy, for me personally, they're both Jupiter ruled, but Pisces has the element of Neptune. And so there is this expansion and there is this ability to like really think deeper on things, right? Jupiter's also the planet of, it's a planet of expansion and of higher education and higher levels of thinking, like philosophy, spirituality, religion, things like that, right? And I'm like, we did all of this exploring together, but then I go off to Neptune and they're still on Jupiter. And I'm like, come to Neptune with me, come to Neptune. And they're like, no. And I'm like, why not? Like, we've already come this far. Neptune is just a hop, skip, and a jump from Jupiter, only separated by Uranus. Like, come on, right? No, Saturn and Uranus. I got to go through my very educated mother just served S9 pies. I did way too many fingers every single time I think of the planets. So just served us 9. Yeah, Saturn and Uranus. Oh, yeah, okay. So I don't blame Sagittarius energy for not being able to cross both Saturn and Uranus to make it to Neptune. But anyway. Something about me and mutable signs just, I don't know why I'm attracted to them. I do know why. But anyway, that was completely besides the point, you know? And 32. And one day I was on Twitter and I've talked about it before. But it wasn't until I explored self-love more that I was really like, I've been like going after all of these like emotionally unavailable dudes because the whole time I've been emotionally unavailable to myself and emotionally unavailable for myself. But now that I'm available to and for me, it's like I don't have time for people who aren't. And like, I don't know, I don't like wasting time, energy, or effort. Like, I could be a frivolous spender sometimes, and I don't know, it put a lot of things into perspective for me this whole year. And so yeah, angel of love, angel of balance. I'm ready for it. So, door to spirit. There's so much rambling in these, but eventually we get somewhere. And for me, like that's what makes conquering devil energy easier. Because it's like, all these old tricks, all these old fears, these old worries, these old illusions. Like, I've been grown and healed and evolved and changed, and you still trying to like play the same old illusion games. Like, go back to, I don't know, 2018 or 2016 or 2015 or pre 2019 Patrick, and maybe that stuff would work. It probably would. A lot of that stuff would probably work. But 2020 Patrick, like Patrick right now, like, no, I'm sorry. Like, not even sorry at this point, honestly. But I feel like I should say that I'm sorry if there's another person on the other side. Like, right, just to be polite, like, it's not me or you. It's just not us. You know what I mean? But also, Angel of Balance and the Angel of Love did say, and like I said, like, if that growth and that maturation happens on both sides, then I'm not going to rob myself of an opportunity to really get to know somebody just because we met when conditions were not favorable for that relationship to grow in the way that it has the potential to now. Like, when I met my Libran friend, I was literally my worst self. Like, he's literally seen me at my worst, and he was my friend through all of that. And so while I do complain about him a lot, and rightfully so sometimes, like, he never gave up on me. And he continued to be my friend, and that's something that really impacted me. And like, that's one of the many things that I've actually learned from him. And so it's actually because of him that I've softened up a lot. It may not seem like it, but I've softened up a lot. I used to be so quick to be done with people and not even give them a second chance and never look back. But now I'm just like, just because I meet somebody and this is the side of them that I see, like, especially when I know that that's not all that there is to them, it's like I can stick around. sometimes from a distance to allow that growth and that healing to happen, because sometimes when you're too close to it, it's like you're choking the plant and the roots can't breathe, and so it can't really become all of what it is sometimes. And so it's like if some time and space is needed, if more healing and growth is needed, and like to see if it comes back later, then I'm willing to do that, because I don't know, it's just like I don't want to cheat myself out of knowing somebody amazing. You know what I mean? Especially if an interest is also on the other side, then yeah, I'd do it. I'd do it. I'm tough. I can handle a little bit of life, right? Sometimes you gotta eat through the rind to get to the sweet core or whatever. I don't know. Door to Spirit, spiritual awakenings and new beginnings. Okay, so new beginnings is a theme between the angel of love and the angel of balance. And the key to these new beginnings is the spiritual awakening that's happened. Because again, we get to come into these spaces on a higher level, on a higher tier with a greater potential, excuse me, at the end. Love it. This door opens onto the expansive energetic realm where all new beginnings originate. The orbs of light are guiding you through the clouds of the earthly world, leading you to a deeper understanding of your eternal identity, the source of all true value and power. I don't think I've ever read this. This is interesting. I might read this twice. I will read this twice. This door opens unto truly unlimited potential, for the changes that happen here reach deep into the core of your being. As such, this card often heralds your increasing powers in the spiritual arts and a deepening connection with the spirit world. Don't be surprised if you find yourself becoming more intuitive, more aware of spirit's presence, or more powerful in your own healing practices. Now is the time to open up to the unexpected guidance and inspiration of spirit and to the magic and power of your true identity. Ooh, that's exciting. Is anyone else excited by that? I relax and connect with my spirit's wisdom and power. I live in the peace that my spirit brings and know that the world of spirit supports me, is the affirmation here. Like I said, I'm going to read it one more time and then I'm going to shut this down. This door opens onto the expansive energetic realm where all new beginnings originate. The orbs of light are guiding you through the clouds of the earthly world, leading you to a deeper understanding of your eternal identity, the source of all true value and power. This door opens unto truly unlimited potential, for the changes that happen here reach deep into the core of your being. As such, this card often heralds your increasing powers in the spiritual arts and a deepening connection with the spirit world. Don't be surprised if you find yourself becoming more intuitive, more aware of spirit's presence, or more powerful in your own healing practices. Now is the time. Now is the time. Now, Ima, this moment, this collective group of moments that we call the present, for the present is always now. And in every moment lies a gift if you choose to seek it and open it. Now is the time to open up to the unexpected guidance and inspiration of spirit and to the magic and power of your true identity. That's interesting. This was really interesting. So that's what I got today. Some rambles thrown in here and there. I'm feeling much better. Like I woke up just like, but I also like, I don't necessarily think that other people should have to listen to me process through all of my stuff, but at the same time, I feel like it is important for me to, whenever I'm going through something, to kind of sort of speak on it, because I do want to show a more equal side of me. Like I don't want to be the type of person that only shows a certain perspective, right? Especially for everything that I say and do. So if I am going through something, I want to talk about it. Like that transparency has become important to me, is what I'm trying to say. So, but I feel much better now because I was able to talk through it and like be like, okay, All right. Okay, okay. I see it. Okay. Yeah. And that's kind of sort of how I process things like even off camera. Right? I really look into, especially now, like I look into it, I look at the feelings that I'm feeling. I think about like what could have led me here and why do I feel this way. Sometimes I try to theorize why the other person might feel the way that they feel. And then it's like, okay, well, what have I been learning? What am I coming into and what do I want for myself? And what am I going to allow to happen or not allow to happen as I move forward? And right now it really is like some of the biggest things themes for me right now is honoring and respecting everyone's choice. Self-love, obviously, to continue to not overgive or overextend and to just hold myself as important as I hold other people. Um, Also being open to experiencing new things and not being so quick to come to such final judgments about experiences in particular before I even have them. Because like I don't want to close myself off from amazing people, from amazing opportunities, or from amazing experiences. And so to be more open to those is something else. And I think there was a last one, but I'll just sum that up by saying do the things that I know I need to do. Because in order for me to get to where I want to be, I gotta get there. I gotta move. And so moving requires me doing certain things. And I have a lot of resources available to me. And it's time that I really begin to use them and just do what I can within my power to keep the ball rolling. And then as the universe continues to line things up and as spirit continues to guide me and as I get closer to myself and I continue to explore the realms of me, things continue to come and I just continue to show up as best as I can and things happen. So I don't know. That's all I got. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever y'all see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to continue to get the best and to strive and just know that I don't know. It's like it's a lot of it is trick, a lot of it is smoke and mirror, a lot of it is illusion, and just really ask yourself what is worth your happy ending? What is worth your destiny? What is worth your best life? And what isn't? Right? Like if you're literally like one moment of bravery or courage or forgiveness or open heartedness or whatever, like if you're one of those away from a whole new world and a whole new life, then like is it not worth the risk? To some people it's not. But just like really think about it. And sometimes you just got to put yourself out there. Real name, full name and all. And whatever happens as a result of that happens. But better. Where they changed it again. I'm like, where is my end stream button? Oh, it's down here because I'm not using the other thing. Okay. Sorry. Better often lies outside of our comfort zone. And like the Seeker of Cups said, we're entering these spaces that are unknowable. And it's not to know anything in these spaces, it's to be comfortable with being guided and to be comfortable with expanding and growing because the more of your light you carry and shine, the more you'll be able to see. And it isn't even about seeing necessarily. It's just about directing. It's like the people on the runway with things that direct the planes. It's like that, or like they do that, or whatever, right? It's like we can direct the things into our life with our light that actually serves us. Or is it a harbor with a busted lighthouse and it's like, some ships run aground, some ships don't. It's a toss up, right? And then I don't know why it went here, but it's like there's this village or a little town of people who don't have much. And so they intentionally leave their lighthouse off, hoping for boats to come and run aground or smash up against the rocks so that whatever precious cargo they carry will wash ashore. and they survive off of whatever is lost from these ships and these boats, and that's all they know. And so they never turn on that light. But it's almost like if you would turn on the light from the lighthouse, you wouldn't have to survive on the scraps of what washes up, like, because your salvation, not salvation, I don't want to get extremely preachy, but it does feel like salvation though, because it's just like, because then you attract to you the things that actually get you out of that situation that you don't want to be in the first place. And you get to experience the nicer things in life, and you get to experience that your experience isn't the only experience that you have to experience. And when you gain enough experience, you level up. So use those new skills, right? Strengthen them, learn the controls, use your new equipment and your new items. It's like when you level up, you don't have to play the game the same way you used to play the game. That's why there are levels in the game. And when things get progressively more difficult, supposedly you have more tools at your disposal to use, and you're not as weak or as powerless as you were. Like, you can't go into the end of the game level 1 and expect to really do anything. Now some people do it, and it takes a really, 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 really long time to beat the game that way, and you have to be really, 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 really good at avoiding things, because typically you'll lose if you get hit one time. If you go to the end of the game and you do like damage one point of damage by 1 point of damage to a monster that has like, I don't know, like 10,000 and 10,250, like, hit points, and you're doing like 1 point of damage at a time. And if you get hit one time, you lose the whole game. It's like, I don't know. I feel like we've leveled up beyond that. So why are we still playing the game that way? You know what I mean? Or maybe not. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. We're all on different paths at different points, on different trajectories, and we're all going to put in different amounts of whatever to get what we want. Some of us will never turn on the lighthouse and will continue to live a whole life just hoping that some poor unfortunate ship just maroons itself or is bashed against the rock so that we can, survive off of whatever floats to the shore. Some of us will turn on the lighthouse and attract to us the things that are meant for us. And then at the same time, the ships that aren't meant for us, they'll see the lighthouse and like, oh, like that's not my destination. And they'll never get away. Some of us will get in ships and just go explore ourselves. I don't know. It's your life. We get to decide what we want to do, more or less. But it starts with the things that we can control in our life. And it starts with the decisions that we make for us. And it starts with us really showing up and putting in the work and being brave and making those choices and facing those challenges head on, and not allowing the projected illusion to keep us from ever leaving the harbor, because that kraken, it's light. There's no way, there's no substance you can literally walk right through it or sail right through it. It just looks scary on the front because it was important for us to stay in this spot until we got the tools, until we progressed enough to face that fear and leave the harbor, right? I don't know. It's all my perspective. Ain't nobody gotta take it. Ain't nobody gotta listen. Ain't nobody even gotta watch. But I don't know. I do these for funsies. I don't know. It is. I also do like processing through it. And like I said, like there are some people who watch these. Um, And I don't know, I just really feel like it's important for me to be more transparent, even though I don't talk about everything, right? I still get to have privacy, but I do feel like it's important to be a little bit more transparent. So that's what I try to do at the very least.